everyone. I have a Pilates Mini Flows class for you today that is going to focus on upper body and core. And for equipment, you're just going to need a long resistance band. If this is your first time doing a Pilates Mini Flows class, the best way to describe the structure is to picture a Pilates mat class that flows from start to finish. We essentially take a little snippet out of that flow and turn it into a circuit of sorts, repeating it. Now today, that snippet is going to be on the longer side, so we're just going to complete it twice, okay? Usually we do 3 to 4 times. This is just twice. So once you do the whole flow, you rest and then repeat before moving on. In total, we have 3 different flows. Now our warm-up is going to go right into our first flow. So I want to give you a preview of that one before we get going. We're going to start on our back with some dead bug work, and we have the band wrapped around our hands. First, as we pull apart on the band, one leg extends out and then the other alternating side to side, and then we're just going to do both legs together in and out. From there, we're going to come up into an ab curl position, and we're going to go back to alternating legs, but as a leg goes out, we're going to reach the arms overhead instead of pulling apart on the band. We then come into kind of a fun combo, okay? So we're going to do both legs together out as the arms go overhead, and then maintaining that core engagement, we're going to roll onto our side and lift the hips forward and up into a modified side plank position, and then we reverse it back to the dead bug. From there, we're going to hold that modified side plank position. Top arm is going to straighten out, and it's going to be a fly, lowering and lifting, pulling against the band. And then we finish with a side plank hold. You can stay on your knees, or you can come to your feet for it. Again, once each side. It's 3.5 minutes long, I believe. So store that in the back of your mind. We will go right into it after a warm-up, and I'll cue you through it, so don't worry if you didn't memorize all of that. Let's start, just have the band close by, but we don't need it right away, in a tabletop position with some cat-cow. So as you inhale, gaze is going to shift up, tailbone reaches up, spinal extension. And as you exhale, you press the mat away, you round your spine up towards the ceiling, spinal flexion. Keep moving like that. One more. And then I want you to elongate the spine to neutral. And I want you to take the back of your left hand to your forehead. We're going to inhale, open twist. And then your exhale, you're going to close the twist, left elbow to right forearm. Inhale it up. Exhale to close. If it's too much pressure in your right wrist, shift your hips back a couple inches, and that'll take some weight out of the hand. One more. Come through center and switch sides, back of the right hand to your forehead. Inhale, open twist. Exhale, close it. So we're mobilizing through the mid-spine here. One more. And then from here, send your butt even farther back. Hands reach behind you, so we're in this hinged position. And we're going to come up, arms go overhead. We're going to hinge back, arms sweep back. Next time you come into your hinge position, I want you to hold and trace arm circles up, out, and around. Maintain length through the back of the neck. And switch direction of your circles. Reverse fly into 1, palms facing towards each other, and you open them up and close. Open and close. We're going to cross at the ankles. We're going to come to a seated position. We're going to grab our band. Into and 1. So cross at the ankles so we can come through seated, and you're going to want to scoot to the top end of your mat. Okay, last little bit of warming up here. Let's get some core activation going. So we're going to grab the band in your hands. They can reach forward. Knees bent, heels down, legs together. We're going to do a half roll back. As you exhale, you're going to scoop through the lower spine, rolling to the back of your pelvis. So think hip bones away from thighs. And then as you inhale, you're going to bring it back up. Exhale, scoop through that lumbar spine and up. Next time you roll back, you're going to hold it back. And we're going to row and twist open. So one elbow pulls back at a time while the other arm stays forward. And then other side. We're going to roll all the way down to the mat up next, and we're going to go right into our first flow with that dead bug work. Last row. Both arms reach forward. Roll the rest of the way down onto the mat. So wrap the band around your hands so that there's light tension on it when your hands are shoulder width apart, but you can still pull it a little farther from there. And then we want to make sure that we are neutral through the spine so we don't have an excessive arch to our lower back. We're engaged to the core, and one at a time, we're going to bring those knees up to tabletop. So to start it, we're going to alternate one leg reaching forward as we pull apart on the band and then the other. At any point, if you feel a strain in your lower back, I want you to take an imprint position, or you would just elongate or flatten your lower back to the mat, okay? And that will help remove tension from your lower back area. On an exhale, we'll pull apart on the band and one leg will reach forward. Let's go. And we're just alternating side to side. Now you can stay in the alternating the whole 60 seconds, but otherwise 30 seconds in, we're going to take it to both legs together. Think initiate the breath first, then move split second after, so that we have that core engagement. Okay, now both legs together. They don't have to reach out super low. You're only extending them out as low as you can, maintaining that neutral alignment of your spine. If you feel that lower back arch start to get bigger up towards the ceiling, then go back to alternating sides. Now we're gonna all go back to alternating up next, but we're gonna do it in an ab curl position. Gaze will be at the knees, and the arms will reach overhead instead of pulling apart. Let's go. So exhale, come into your ab curl position, gaze at the knees. Now as one leg goes out, arms go overhead. Bring it back in, other side. Now we have a gentle nod to the chin, and that is going to help prevent neck strain. If you do have neck strain though, then forget about the arms going overhead, and I want you to bring your hands behind your head for support. So we have that combo coming up. It's going to be both legs together, and then we're going to roll to our left, coming up into that kneeling modified side plank, and I just got to scoot to the side for it so I have room. Okay, let's go. So it's going to be both legs out together. Bring them back into tabletop. Keep that core engagement. We roll to the left. We lift those hips up. Lower them down. Back into that ab curl bear plank position. Or not bear plank. Reverse tabletop. It's an upside down bear plank. We're here for a full 60. Now when you lift your hips up, you're also bringing your hips forward. Oops, I forgot to stay in the ab curl position on that one. When you roll, I want you to come into that ab curl. So we're going to finish in this modified side plank position. We'll start with the top arm straightening out and kind of doing a reverse fly. All right, let's go. So come into that modified side plank, straighten out this arm, palm faces towards the ground. And then from here, we are opening it up and closing. So you're mirroring me. Your hips are stacked and square, firing through the glutes. We're open through the chest, and as we open up this arm, we're thinking of retracting the shoulder blade in. Now we will finish up with a hold. You can absolutely stay on your knees, or you can straighten out your legs. Let's go. Final 30 seconds, side plank hold. You got it. If the band is too much, ditch it. Open through the chest, square through the hips. Push, push, push those hips up towards the ceiling. You got it. And rest. 30 seconds. Let's take a counter stretch. Left arm can sweep up and over. So we're going to do that whole thing from the top. When we come into that modified side plank though, it'll just be to the other side. All right, let's go. I'm going to start with that dead bug. Head stays on the mat to start. Neutral through the spine. Wrap the band around your hands. Knees to tabletop. Alternate one leg at a time as you pull apart on the band on the exhale. Exhale, one leg presses forward, back in. Up next, we'll just do both legs together. If possible, if that's a little too much, I want you to stick one leg at a time. Both legs together, let's go. Again, it does not have to be super low. We switch it up next. Arms are going to go overhead. We'll be in an ab curl position. We'll go back to one leg at a time. All right, now on an exhale, nod the chin, come up to your ab curl position. We're going to go one leg at a time, arms go overhead, and back in. Gentle nod of the chin, upper shoulder blades are off the mat. I'm just going to scoot over so I have space for the next one. We're coming into that fun combo up next. It'll be both legs together as arms go overhead, and then we roll to our right side, hips lift up into that modified side plank. Let's go, both legs together. If possible, come back, engage through the core, roll onto the right side, hips come up and out, up and forward, I should say, and back to the ab curl position. So notice my hips are coming forward, and then they're going back and down. We'll stay in the modified side plank up next. We'll do a fly of that top arm. All right, let's go. So we come into that modified side plank position. Top hand points down towards the floor, and we fly it open and closed, anchoring the band with our bottom arm. I'm doing it with my top leg at a hover. You can absolutely stack the knees if you prefer. Hips reach up, they're square. We are open through the chest. We're not rounding forward with this top shoulder. All right, we have that 30-second side plank hold. You can come to straight arms, or you can absolutely keep your knees down. Push up, up, up. Don't sink into your bottom shoulder. Breathe, we got it. Almost through with your first flow. And done. Hips lower, bend those knees. Take that right arm up and over for a counter stretch. Awesome work. All right, so I'm going to give you a preview of flow number 2 while you have a minute to recover. We're once again going to have the band wrapped around our hands. To start, we're going to be in a bear plank position, and it's a serratus push-up, which if you're unfamiliar with that, you retract your shoulder blades and then protract them, pushing the floor away. So it's just your scapula sliding in together and then wide apart. From there, we're going to go into push-ups. You can step to a full plank, or you can do those modified from your knees. From there, we come into a combo from a plank position or modified plank, lower all the way to a prone position. Come up into a spinal extension through that mid-back, reach the arms forward, and then pull them back in and reverse it. Then in that prone position with the arms extended, we're going to lift and lower. So it's that little spinal extension challenging our shoulder mobility, holding the arms up. And then we finish by holding the extension, and you're just going to pull apart on the band, little pulses there in the spinal extension. All right, you're going to go through this twice. Let's go. So band wrapped around your hands. You want light tension when your hands are shoulder width apart, okay, but the ability to pull a little farther. We're going to spread out through those hands, hands under shoulders, knees under hips, and then tuck your toes under, and we're going to come to a bear plank position. We're going to go into that serratus push-up. So from here, shoulder blades are going to slide in towards each other, and you're going to push the floor away as the shoulder blades slide apart. We maintain a neutral spine, so it's your scapula gliding across your mid-back. Your arms are staying straight, but unlock through the elbows. So this move targets the serratus, which is very important in push-ups. So we're going to step to a full plank and go into push-ups after this. Let's go. So step, back to plank, and give me push-ups. Down and up. You can always modify by coming to your knees. Inhale on the way down. Exhale, press up. Elbows are going back at a 45-degree angle, and then you press. So we have that combo coming up. You'll lower all the way to a prone position. You'll come into an extension, and we'll reach the arms forward. Let's go. So you're going to lower all the way down to the mat. You're going to reach long to the crown of your head, coming up into a spinal extension, hands at a hover. Reach those arms forward. Pull them back, hands under shoulders. Lower nose lightly to the mat, and then exhale, press back up to your modified plank, or if you're advanced, full plank. Keep going like that, all the way to the mat. Up to that extension. Arms reach forward, keep tension on the band. Pull them back. Lower down, press it up. It's just going to be that spinal extension up next. Arms will stay reaching forward. Okay, let's go. Arms reach forward. You lower everything to the mat, and then you lift it up. It's a very shallow hover. Pull apart on the band so there's tension on it. And we don't just want to sink into the mid-back. The lift is really coming from the mid-back, so you want to brace through your abdominals. Stay active through the legs, really pushing your feet down into the floor. If this bothers your low back, I want you to separate the legs. We're going to hold at the top and pulse out on the band to finish. Let's go. Holding that extension. It's a pull apart on that band. Make sure you're breathing. Maintain engagement through the abdominal wall. And we don't crane the neck. So your gaze is just forward slightly. Can you come up a little higher? Oh, and rest. Cheek to the mat, bend the knees, windshield wiper from side to side. And then hands under shoulders. Press yourself back into a shell stretch, so round the spine up towards the ceiling so we get some flexion after all that extension. You got a full minute to recover here. So we are going to repeat that whole thing from the top one more time. So we find our band. And by the way, if shoulder mobility is limited and you find it really hard to hold the arms overhead, you have options. One, ditch the band so you can hold your arms wider apart or just hold the band wider. Or you can do it bend elbows, okay? Instead of having the arms all the way overhead. Okay, let's wrap the band around our hands and we find our tabletop position. Tuck the toes under, come to that bear plank, serratus push-ups to start. So it's the free gliding movement of the scapula. Now, if this is too much, you can modify by doing it with your knees down instead of in a bear plank position, okay? Maybe you start here, and as you get the movement down, then you challenge yourself by doing it with the knees at a hover. We have push-ups up next, full plank or modified. Let's try at least one from our feet, okay? And then we can drop to our knees. Let's go. Press the floor away. Step, step. Inhale down. Exhale up. Elbows go back at a slight diagonal. They don't go straight out to the side. So think of opening up through the chest. Active through the glutes. That's going to help hold your pelvis neutral. Exhale. Use your core to help you get to the top. We have the combo coming up. Let's go. So you lower all the way to the mat. You lift up into your low extension. Arms reach forward. Arms pull back. Lower. And then press back up to full plank or modified plank. As you pull your hands back in under your shoulders, think scapula slide down towards your bum, okay? So that the hands are really under the shoulders and we're not rolling them forward. Then lower to neutral and exhale. Back up. We have just the spinal extension up next. Arms overhead. Let's go. So you lower down to prone, brace through the core, arms are overhead. Go long through the spine, up into that extension, and lower. Again, if it's too much with the arms overhead, I want you to do it goalpost, okay? Lowering down and up. We will hold at the top to finish and pull apart on the band. Final 30 coming up. Holding that extension, pull apart on the band. Don't let your shoulders shrug up towards your ears. They're elevated a little bit, yes, but don't pull them up. Woo, so close. Oh, cheek to the mat, bend the knees, windshield wiper. Woo! All right, you have a minute to recover. I'm going to show you flow number 3. I'm going to do this last part kneeling, seated on a yoga block, but you can do it kneeling or you can do it standing, okay? It's just easier for me to be low for my camera. So it's going to be all banded work, big emphasis on shoulders. First, it's going to be a lateral rotation, isolating that rotator cuff. And then we combo lateral rotation, lateral extension, and then you just do the lateral extension. From there, keeping the elbows lifted, we'll bend into 90, and we have another combo. It's going to be a shoulder press pulsing up and down, and then a rotation, more rotation, palm parallel to the floor, back open. We then take it into a shoulder press, top half shoulder sweep, back up, press, sweep, and then we finish with just a shoulder press up and down, once on either side. So we're going to wrap the band around our hands. Let's go, final flow. So you'll be mirroring me. We'll start with our right arm moving, left as the anchor. So to start, I want your both elbows like this, so 90 degrees in parallel. But notice how I shift my anchor arm as we change up the movements, okay? And I'll cue all that. We're going to start with lateral rotation. So open up through the chest, engage through the core, tall through the spine. Exhale, lateral rotation, back through center. So we maintain that 90-degree bend of the elbow, working the rotator cuff. So the rotator cuff is little stabilizing muscles. So you may not rack up like a huge burn when you do this. That is because they're smaller muscles. Doesn't mean that they're not working. Doesn't mean that this movement isn't important. We'll add in a lateral extension coming up. Add it in. So rotate, and then when you're open, extend up and out. Bring the elbow back into your side, rotate to parallel. And you can choke up on the band if you need things to be heavier. You just widen your grip to make things a little lighter. Up next, it'll just be that lateral extension, and we'll work the top half. Let's go. So just the top half, up and out, up and out. Bend, extend, bend, extend. Now I'm going to move my anchor hand from this 90-degree position to my hip. We're going to keep the elbow lifted. We're going to bend the elbow to 90. It's going to be a shoulder press pulse and then a rotation down towards the floor. Let's go. So bend into 90. Shoulder press pulse, rotate, keeping the elbow lifted. So really think about where that rotation is coming from. The top of your arm bone going into your shoulder socket, okay? The humerus. Shoulder press, shoulder sweep up next. Let's go. Shoulder press, sweep, just halfway, up. One press. We'll finish with just the shoulder press. Just the shoulder press, down and up. We're just working the top half, so don't bring your elbow too much lower than your shoulders. Make sure you're not flaring open through the front of your ribs. We're connected to the core. Stay upright, almost there. Last little bit of work this side. And rest. So you have 30 seconds, then we're just going to do that same thing on the other side. So this work is really supportive for the shoulder joint, okay? I mean, I definitely built up a burn at the end there. I'm not saying it's easy by any means, but the goal of this is more that intricate supportive work for the very complicated shoulder joint, more so than like straight up strength training, trying to go like as heavy as possible, okay? So let's wrap that band around our hands. Parallel, elbows bent at 90. Right side is the anchor, left moves. We start with that lateral rotation. Keep the elbow in tight, let's go. And we rotate open and back through center. Now try to keep the wrist solid, so don't break either way, okay? It stays straight. Again, if you need more tension, choke up on the band. We'll add in that lateral extension up next. Let's go. Lateral rotation, lateral extension. Bring it in. It'll just be the lateral extension up next. Let's go, just the lateral extension. And I like to bring the anchor hand to my hip when I get here. Up and out. Up and out. Try not to bring the elbow all the way into your side. For our transition up next, we'll hold the elbow lifted. We'll bend the elbow to 90, so kind of a goal post. And it'll be that shoulder press and then that rotation. Hold the elbow lifted, bend the elbow to 90. So it's shoulder press up and down, and then rotate like the lid of a box, closing and then opening. Keep the elbow lifted as you do that rotation. Shoulder press to sweep up next. Let's go. Shoulder press at the top, sweep down and out to the side, just about to shoulder height, and up. Bend the elbow, press. We sweep. Under a minute left of this workout. I'm going to cool it down on the other side. It'll just be the shoulder press the last 30 seconds. Let's go. Just that shoulder press, up and down. Try not to let the elbow go much lower than shoulder height. Notice if you're shifting through your rib cage. I want equal length through both sides of the waist, so we're staying upright. You can do it. Final 10. And done. Ditch the band. Awesome work. So you can do this cool down. Actually, let's all come down to the mat if you're not already down onto the mat. If you did that last part standing. Now I want you to interlace the fingers, flip the palms, press them forward and round forward, opening up through the mid-back. Take a couple breaths here. Really fill the space between your shoulder blades with that inhale. And then stacking the spine up tall, let's reach those arms overhead and just give me a little side bend side to side. Coming up through center, release the interlace and switch it so now you're interlaced behind your back. Press the knuckles away from you without flaring open through the ribs, and then lift the arms up. And then releasing the grip, let's come to a tabletop position for a thread the needle stretch either side to finish. So you're going to take the right arm, you're going to weave it under the left cheek to the mat, and then walk that left arm forward. Walking your left hand in, press up through center, other side. Walk the hand in, come through center, bum to your heels. Let's finish with one deep breath. Inhale, arms sweep up. And exhale, release. And that is your class. Awesome work today. See you next time.